Hi, my name is Tim Grant. I'm with Business Solution Providers, and today I've been asked to talk about using work orders within OrderTime inventory software. OrderTime is a great online inventory management system that integrates with QuickBooks. And today I'm going to focus on just using the work order function system in here. I have a sample file that I'm going to be using, and there are a couple of steps that you and management need to make sure are already set up before you can use a work order. So one of them is to make sure that you have all the steps that are going to be used in a work order. You do that by clicking on the company name and then going to your profile lists and clicking in steps under production. So this is where you would create the actual steps in production, the work that you're going to be doing. And for today's topic, we're just going to build some tables to keep it kind of simple. And to do that, we're going to be assembling parts, painting some parts, and then inspecting the tables once we're done. So that's the first step. And then the other thing that you need to do is, of course, make sure that you have all of your parts available and that you have an assembly item that you're going to build. So in order to do that, we need to make sure that we have our items created. I've already created our table. So you create it as an assembly item or group. And then once you do that, there will be an associated bill of materials with it. Think of a bill of materials as just the recipe of what goes into it. So now what I've done is I've already set this item up so that I include my table legs, my tabletop, and some varnish that goes on it to complete it. And my steps, or what it's also referred to as routing, is the order of the steps or production steps that need to be done in order to complete the work. So once you have all of that in place, it's very easy to just start a new work order. So we'll go to create new, we go down to work order. It's going to ask us what we're creating a work order for, and it has to be an assembly item. So we're going to take a table, click next. We're going to tell it how many that we want to create. Let's say we're going to do 5. The quantity here will be filled in once we're complete. The date is usually the date that we're going to be starting the project on. And then the promise date is the date we expect to have it finished for either stock or for an order. At this point, we have a work order level memos and instructions that we can add to show up on the work order. You can also have line item instructions, and we'll be talking about that later on. So we'll just click save at this point. And that creates our work order for us. So we have several tabs along here that monitor the work. Mostly what you're going to be interested in is the steps and components area, which reflects what I just showed on the bill of materials for the table and the steps that go into it. So when you first start, you always want to look at your statuses over here. So right now we're just waiting for this manufacturing order or production order to get started. The next step is to allocate our parts. We can either do that individually down here by allocating each line item's inventory, or if we know we already have the parts in stock, they've already been gathered for production, we can come up here and click allocate to allocate the parts for this production order. You see over here the status is now changed to ready. So we're ready to begin our work. And then that's when we'll come down and we do our actual work for how long things take. So in this case, it's going to take 4 table legs per table, 1 tabletop, and in this case, it's actually a half of a can of varnish. So in order to create 5 of our tables, we're going to need 3 full cans. We'll need 5 tabletops and 20 legs. So once our parts have been allocated for this, you can go ahead and create the work order itself for the workers to go ahead and prepare it. So you come up here to go to Create PDF. And this lets them know what parts are going to be necessary for this job, as well as any instructions that we have for completing the work. You can also email it down here at the bottom. Okay. And over here on this tab is where you can also change these memos or instructions if you need to do that. Okay. So once we're ready to start the work, the people over here can go ahead and edit each work component if they need to. So if, for example, if there was any line item instructions that we needed to add that were specifically to this order, or if for some reason our quantity changed, we actually consumed maybe 21 or 22 because something was damaged, we can change our quantities here. So once the work is ready to be done, we can go to each step and edit the work order steps. So we're assembling our parts first. We come down here and we come to find out the actual time took only 7 minutes. And we could put any notes in here, change any of the information that's done. And then at the bottom, we can say, okay, for this part, we're finished. And it'll track the time for that step. And then the workers would just simply do the same thing for each other step. Okay. Once you complete, all of the parts have been allocated and you've completed the last step, then that is going to close the work order because all the work has been finished. It consumes all of the materials that were used, rolls up the costs into our finished goods, and now we have a work order that's finished with our total five quantities that we started with. There's also cases where you might need to do a split order. So say, for example, if this was tied to a customer order and you had an order for 10, but you only had enough to complete 8, you can do that. You can also create multiple level work orders where you have nested bills of material, which might require other work orders to do. Or you may want to just show your work order with all of the parts of all subassemblies on it at the same time. To do those, in this case, what I did here today was just a simple single level bill of materials. But if you need to also use those other types, this can be done by management going to company preferences and down to production. And you can turn on enabling flattening the bill of materials or allowing drill down to see the lower level subassemblies or to enable assembling. And that's about it to work orders. Thank you for your time, and hope to be seeing you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.